In this video, I'm going to talk to you about the dangers of a spiritual awakening. This is one of the most important videos you will ever see. If you are experiencing a spiritual awakening, I want to help you not destroy yourself on the way to discovering yourself. So a spiritual awakening is basically when you wake up one day and you start questioning your morals, your values, your perspective about life, your reality, your place in the world, who you are, where you fit in, the whole nine. You start assessing your inner world and determining if reality aligns with a real truth. You're looking for clarity. It can be triggered by a divorce, loss of a job, any type of loss. Just sometimes it happens gradually. You can watch a movie, guys, actually, that can trigger a spiritual awakening. You can read a book. It can be a journey that you're on for a long time and it's happening gradually. But for a lot of people, it can just happen, like something happens and you no longer see the world the way you used to see it. So I like to think of it as, let's say you're in a room and the room has been dark and you're used to that level of light. Let's just say the light is extremely dim, and then one day the light comes on and you see everything in a whole new way. Now, I want to say that I've been on a spiritual journey for a long time, so I'm going to tell you a story first of my spiritual awakening. I remember I used to be a foster care social worker, and I had a child that I was picking up after being called by the school to pick this kid up, and this kid had gone through so much, and I'm not going to go through the details of what happened because it just seems pretty traumatic. But I remember when this kid was in my back seat, and I'm in my little Ford station wagon, my little purple Ford station wagon. And I said, one day, this kid is going to be on somebody's, club, on somebody's pole, and the world is going to judge this person because they're not going to know their story. They're not going to know anything about them, their background. Even they aren't going to know or remember what I knew. And I bawled my little heart out. I pulled over on the freeway. And man, did I cry so hard, and I made a deal with God. I said, look, God, we got to make a deal. I said, listen, I don't believe in hell anymore, because if I was going to put someone in hell, the first thing I would do is give them a perfect life. I would give them perfect parents. I would make sure they've never been bullied, make sure they've never been hurt, make sure they've never been disappointed. I would say, look, I've given you everything, and I can't believe you have the audacity to bully another person or hurt another person or whatever. I would make your life so perfect that I couldn't understand how you could possibly harm in any form or fashion another human. And I said, and because you have not done that, I cannot believe in hell anymore. I cannot believe that anybody can be, sent to a place of eternal, whatever that word is, right? I was like, God, I can't do this with you. It changed everything about me, everything about my belief in God. I told God, I said, look, I believe in you, and that's it. And I believe that people come here and they have different experiences, and I feel that as humans, we need to respect each other's journey. right? So whenever, from that point forward, whenever I would see a person, I would always wonder, like if I saw somebody struggling or somebody in jail or somebody on the streets, I always said there's probably a backstory that none of us could walk a single day in their shoes and not be where they are, and maybe not be as far as they are. So that moment, it changed my perspective about God, about life, about my concept of heaven and hell. I only believe, I was like, God, this is it. Because if you're not going to give a person a perfect life, then how can you expect anything else from them? Do you understand what I'm saying? Because if you put them in these conditions, then we have to know that those conditions are going to create certain trauma, certain pain, certain outcomes. And so that changed my life. Now what I want to tell you guys in this video, oh, by the way, my name is Cassandra. Welcome to my channel. I want to tell you some things about a spiritual awakening. If you are going through one right now where you're looking within, you're questioning your values, your values, your morals, you're looking at the world in a whole new way, you're trying to figure out who you are and where you fit in and what is your purpose, this is the video for you. But these are some warnings that other people don't tell you, but I'm going to tell you, okay? The first thing I want to tell you is this, because I have a little list here. When you are going through your spiritual awakening and you're starting to question life, and you realize that you are a spiritual being having a human experience, as they say, it's so cliche. You realize, oh my God, that you're maybe a part of God, and that you are just here for a moment, and you're gonna you're thinking about karma and ethics and reincarnation and all what happens when you die. All of these things are coming into play, and you're questioning your entire existence thus far. I want you to understand this. When you are assessing your life, trying to determine if this moment, at this very moment, if your previous life prior to this awakening had meaning, don't throw everything away. Now, let me explain this, because I see this happen a lot. I was watching a video, an interview of Prince. Do I need to say more? Prince is one of my all-time favorite entertainers, and in the interview, he was saying how he was completely embarrassed by his earlier work. That he, because I don't know if you've seen the videos where he has on these little Speedo underwear and these, I think the knee-high boots, and he's singing, "I want to be your lover." Oh God, this is when I fell in love with Prince. Still Waiting. I mean, with the big afro and the "Let Me Love You Down." I mean, oh my God. Okay, let me just say this. I slept outside downtown Detroit to get tickets to Prince concert, and saw the same concert 3 nights in a row. Paid top dollar, my brother and I, and enjoyed it each time immensely. Okay. But anyway, so I'm watching this Prince video, and he's saying that he's ashamed of his earlier body of work, because now he is, I forgot what his religion is. I don't know if he was, whatever it is, but it's like he wants to be close to God. He thinks it's not his music. It does not make one align with an ethical, high moral type, behavior. And so he said he's very ashamed of it. And I'm thinking, no, dude, you trying to tell me that Prince and the Speedos and the knee-high boots on stage, no. That person was supposed to exist. I think that when people go through a spiritual awakening sometime, and they start looking at their life, it's like they don't want to find value in the life prior to that moment. But let me tell you something, do not throw the baby out with the bathwater. Who you were prior to this moment matters. Don't throw everything away. Don't look at, the Cassandra who was skipping school and who took a GED, and I love that girl. I love her. She made a lot of mistakes, but I love her. She brought me to this moment, and I just don't look at all your mistakes as you being this horrible person, and that God is not going to love you, because God is going to love you, right? And love all of you. And just because you don't want to be that person anymore, it doesn't mean who you were has no value. I want you to integrate all of you into, like, oh, that was really cool. Like, maybe think of it as when a baby was, crawling, and now, maybe it could be a little different. But what I'm trying to say is, don't hate the version of you that brought you to this moment. Because one day when you are 105, you want to be able to look at all of your life and be entertained. At least that's what I tell myself. Like, don't do that, because to me it's going to make the spiritual journey a lot more painful. Because I went through a stage where I was ashamed of who I was. Now, if you go through like these, feeling guilt and ashamed, there's just one of my favorite books. It's Words of Power by Damon Brand. There's a ritual on how to, it's called, I know it's removing guilt and shame. Feeling more self-respect is another ritual. It's called Words of Power, and it's by Damon Brand. But anyway, I don't want to just tell you. If I can think of a tool to help you, I will do so. So again, don't throw everything away. Look at yourself with loving, compassionate eyes. Look at yourself as, wow, look at me. I was working hard to get to this point in my life. Like, look at yourself with compassion. Your old self, that version of you. Maybe maybe you don't want to wear the knee-high boots with the Speedo anymore. But if Prince did not sing "I Want to Be Your Lover" and "Still Waiting" and "Why You Want to Treat Me So Bad," I mean, these are some songs by Prince. If those songs laid the foundation for Purple Rain. Okay, so don't throw away who you were to get to where you're going. The next point, the next warning that I would love to share with you about a spiritual awakening is, it's don't become so spiritual. And this is what happens. I went through this where I was learning about every gemstone and I'm chanting, Om and Tao and all this stuff. And don't become so spiritual that you forget to enjoy your journey to planet Earth in this incarnation. Now, let me explain this. So when you wake up in your spiritual awakening, I like to say it's like this. It's almost like you wake up, right? And you're like, oh my God, I have on this Earth suit. This is your astronaut suit, right? And I'm on a planet, and I am, whatever, whether you're European or Asian or whatever ethnic group you chose, whatever, sex or gender you chose, right? And you wake up and you're like, oh, what was I thinking? Did I lose a bet with my spiritual team? Like, what is going on? And you're just like, oh no. And then I have to go back home, and I gotta face my spiritual team, and I have to tell them what I've done while I was in my astronaut suit, in my Earth suit, as I like to call it, on planet Earth. And I have to go back and I have to give an account of what I was doing, because that's what's really happening, is that you're realizing that it's more to who I am than this physical earth suit that I have. And maybe somebody or someone or some being, maybe there's a God, maybe there's not, this is where you are, is going to want to know, what was I doing while I was in this on this trip, right? I like to think of it like this. So you incarnated in your, in an earth suit, and think of Earth as an amusement park as opposed to a school. And sometimes when people go through a spiritual journey, they become like, oh God, what is my holy guardian angel going? What was God going to think of me? Does God exist? Is God oh, what happens when you die? You start thinking all these crazy questions, and you're like, but you're at an amusement park. Don't forget to eat the elephant ears. Don't get so holier than thou. Don't become so spiritual that you forget to eat the corn dogs. That you forget to eat the elephant ears. That you forget to get on the roller coaster. That you forget to ride the rides. You understand what I'm saying? Do you need 10 corn dogs? No, you don't need 10 corn dogs, but you do need one. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't forget to have an elephant ear. Don't forget to get on the merry-go-round. Don't forget to enjoy your stay on the planet. Now, I know that when I was, first going through my spiritual awakening, I just thought, oh my goodness, if I'm not perfect, then God isn't going to love me. And then I'm probably going to end up, like what's going to happen? But then, I was like, I don't even know if that's real. The point I'm making is this. You have incarnated in this physical body in this time period. And it's not just for you to suffer. And it's not just for you to be sad and to chant and to, it's not just for that. You are here to also enjoy yourself. And yes, sometimes you need a McDonald's, cheeseburger and some fries in the park, not in the park, in your car. Okay? Like, don't forget to be human, because I think that a spiritual awakening that makes you question everything and the meaning of life, sometimes it can cause us to be really stuffy and really like, I'm only gonna eat vegetables, and I'm only gonna, I'm just gonna be this perfect human because I don't want to be poisoned. And you know what? I don't care if you whether you eat vegetables. I don't care if people eat, by the way. But if you eat roast beef or only vegetables, you're still leaving the planet. You're still going to leave the earth suit behind. So don't get so holier than thou, and so that you came to the amusement park and you forgot to get a slice of pizza and a corn dog and an elephant ear. You know what I mean? So the next thing is, I want to tell you that while learning everything about spirituality and and the different gemstones and the different meditation types, and did I say it right? Did I say did I hold my breath right? Did I hold my fingers right? When you can get really caught up in that, and you start thinking, well, the reason that my life is hard right now is because I just wasn't pronouncing everything 100. I wasn't saying it 100% correct. So, maybe I'm going to be, what's the word? I'm just not going to make it back to, heaven in one piece, or my life is not going to be peaceful and harmonious because I'm just not pronouncing things correctly, and everything is not perfect, and I'm not saying my affirmations. And no, don't do that to yourself. Don't do it. Now, I know you're going to be tempted because I've been down that road, right? But I want you to know something. Everybody's journey is different. And your journey is extremely unique, and it belongs to only you. And don't let anybody become your guru. Nobody. No one. listen to the different advice. What's his name? I'm looking at his face. The one who did Dow. I'm looking at his face, but I can't think of his name. But once I would read a book, I would fall in love with the author, and then all of a sudden, it's like, oh, this person is, the next, better than, what is this? The next best thing to sliced bread, and now I'm in love, and it's like, no one should become your guru. They should, what is this thing? You should be not a sage on the stage, but a guide on the side. Learn as much as you can, but know your journey is unique. What happened to them, you can learn from it, but don't try to make somebody else's life your life. You know what I'm saying? Remember that. Just use a sifter. When your consciousness become aware and you're just trying to take in the world, and you're reading about all of it, Buddha and Jesus and, and Kuan Yin and Shiva, you're reading all of this really good stuff about these different gods and goddesses. Just remember, this is your unique journey, and don't let anybody hijack it. The other thing is, guys, listen. When you're searching for the meaning of life, and please take this, I want you to take this into your soul. When you're searching for the meaning of life, a greater purpose, where do you fit in? Life only has the meaning that you give it. I know that might sound, listen, no one cares if you write your book. No one cares if you make a doll. No one cares if you paint a picture. No one cares if you write a poem. No one cares if you sing a song. No one cares. I'm being honest with you. If you bake the cake or start the bakery or do any of the things that you dream of doing. Nobody cares. You have to care. You are the creator. You are the maker of your own reality. And I know that sounds, what I mean is, I think we wake up and we think, okay, God, hello, what do you want me to do? What do you want from me? Because I still go through that sometimes. Like, what do you want from me? What do you want? What do you want, Cassandra? I want to finish book 4. But then that's what I want for you. Listen. I'm going to tell you something that I know a lot of people disagree with. I think there are over 13 billion people on planet Earth, right? I personally do not believe that you need to write the perfect book. I think you need to find your audience. The people who really vibe with you, who like you. Now that's the job. The job is you showing up authentically and finding the people who resonate with who you are. That is your job. And I say that, and please, and I shouldn't say this because I'm probably thinking, like, because people always say, you used to call Tyler Perry. Listen, Tyler Perry got me through my doctorate degree. He had a video about how when he first started, and he had this one-man play, and he would put it on, and no one would be in the audience, and he would spend all his money. He was sleeping in his car, and he struggled, and he did this for a while, sleeping in his car, putting on the same one-man play. He said, and then when the people would show up, it would be his family members or his friends, and everybody kept telling him to give up because they told him that it wasn't good. And he said, but he believed in himself. He believed in what he was doing. And one morning he woke up and he had put the play on again, the same play, by the way. And it was a line around the block. He would make the flyers, and he would staple them out on the poles on the streets himself. Okay, with all the money, he would go and get a job and work that job, and just enough so he could put that same play back on until he made it. And you know what he said? I'll never forget this, Mr. Perry. He said that the reason he thinks that most people never make it is because they try too many different things. He said, one week you're a hairdresser, one week you want to be a baker, and the next week you want to try making jewelry, and the next week you're working at the post office, and the next week you decide you want to go to school to be a doctor. He said, no, you find one thing and you stick with it until it works. Just one thing. And he said, because when you get that one thing to work, it builds your foundation for you to build on top of it to build other things. I remember this was a 4-minute video. I can't find it anywhere anymore, but I watched it every day when I was going through the toughest part of my doctorate degree. And I would cry and I would listen to, see, we never know who we're inspiring, right? And I listened to him every morning. He said, stick to one thing until it works. Now, I love him for that story and that truth. But the other thing about Mr. Tyler Perry, is I'm not the biggest fan of his work, but I am the biggest fan of who he is as a man. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not I think that's where people don't understand. We don't have to like everybody's book, everybody's movie, everybody's song. I hear songs all the time and I think, oh my God, I can't believe somebody published that and they're on the radio. There's so many people who have made it who didn't need my permission to make it, because there's 13 billion people in this world. And if you get a 0.5% of that population to like you for your authentic self, you'll be doing extremely well. So you can never give up being yourself. I don't think that it's about this perfect work and these gatekeepers. I think it's about you believing in yourself and when you believe in yourself, I believe that, and you show up authentically, then you will find the people who are going to love you for who you are. The next thing I want to tell you about this spiritual awakening journey is, you know what? When you wake up, you start remembering childhood traumas, right? And you start remembering some horrible things that happened to you, and now you don't even know if you can ever attend another family function. You don't know if you ever want to be around certain people, or you can ever forgive your parents or whomever, because again, when you start looking within and seeing life from a different perspective and looking for clarity and purpose and understanding how you were constructed, conditioned, socialized, the key players in your life that made you who you are at this moment, you're going to be, deconstructing it and analyzing it and assessing it, and you might discover some things that really hurt. But I'm going to tell you how to handle it, okay? Because I wish somebody had told me this. I figured it out later. You don't need to go and confront these people who you were enjoying family picnics and family holidays, and the people you may have to be around, and you realize, oh my God, this is a monster. I can't, you're the spiritual awakening. Like I said, you wake up to who you are, to your life. Do this for me. I promise you'll thank me for this one. When you start unraveling childhood wounds and traumas, before you confront these people who hurt you or disappointed you or neglected you or let you down, I want you to write out your true, raw, honest emotions on a brown paper bag. Just give it everything you got. It should be tear stained. You say it exactly how you want to say it in writing, and then I want you to burn it on a full moon. I want you to release it. And if I don't know what you believe in, but if you believe in God, or I would call Jesus, and I would call my holy guardian angel, my spiritual team, ascended masters, whoever you're working with. If there's just your higher self, say, God Almighty, and your fiercest band of angels, I please surround and protect me, heal me. You write this letter and you burn it on a full moon. You burn it and you release it, and let Okay, that's one layer. Now, after you've released all of this raw emotion that you are feeling, the next thing I want you to do, after that settles, is I want you to have a meeting with just basically, this is what all you have to do before you go to bed, however, a quiet space. You call on your spiritual team. Now, I don't know who your spiritual team is, but I'm sure you probably have a holy guardian angel. You probably have, you believe in something or whatever. Just call on the God's divine love and light. All right, for me, it's like call on your ancestors. Just call on these entities and beings, who are beyond dimensions and time and space, who have wisdom that you are yet to remember in this lifetime, right? And you also ask for that person's spiritual team, and you ask for a pot, this big pool of compassion. Like in the center, imagine like there's this big fountain, and it's like a bubbly, beautiful, like golden pink fountain of compassion, and you guys are surrounding this pool, and you tell them how you feel, and you place your letter or whatever, your thoughts in this pool, and you get it, and then you have this person's spiritual team and this person. Call on this person's higher self too. I love to do this. See, I'll call on the higher self of blah 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 and his spiritual team, and you guys sit there and tell and imagine a real conversation. Now, what you might discover is that this person who has harmed you, or they've gone through some type of trauma, they've done some, there are things that have happened to them that has made them who they are at this moment. And there's gonna be a lot of forgiving, there's a lot of crying, and everybody get into this fountain of forgiveness, right? And you cleanse and you you rejoice. Do this. You would then see that in real life, in the 3D, that the relationship energy will begin to change between you and that person, and you will heal and resolve those issues in a way that is more miraculous than you ever imagined. So whatever trauma that comes up, deal with it on a spiritual level first before you deal with it in the 3D. That would be my advice, okay? All of that, because sometimes people feel like, no, I just can't believe this person did this. You know what? Life is complex. Humans are complex, all right? They've just incarnated just like you. They're in an earth suit. They've had some things happen to them, and so forth and so on. And you want to heal in the best way possible, in an optimal divine way, meaning that you don't want to go through any extra trauma that you don't have to. Nobody needs to be incarcerated. Nobody needs to go through any more drama than necessary. So heal spiritually first. Call on your spiritual team. Get rid of the anger first. Sit down, have a fountain of compassion. Have a meeting, everybody get in that compassion fountain at the end, and then you'll be led to take the next steps in the 3D that will bring about an optimal situation for all parties involved. Now, the next thing I want to tell you is that you don't want to live in your head. When you're going through a spiritual awakening and you start reading all this stuff about meditation and yoga breaths and your inner world and your inner self, and you can really get caught up in your head. And you kind of like, you start thinking like, I'm just really planning to go back to see, my spiritual team and God and everybody, and I'm just trying to be a good person. I don't care about this world anymore. I'm going to tell you, be careful with that, because I feel like once you no longer can appreciate a beautiful car, just like the beauty of a sunset or a beautiful pair of shoes. If you stop wanting anything material and you're in a 3D world, I'm not saying, I really feel like you don't understand how lost you can become if you no longer care about any of the matters on this earth. Does that make sense what I'm saying? I hope you can read all the things between the lines that I'm not saying. You want to care about your body. You want to care about your home. You want to care about, you still want to, don't just live in your head. Biggest mistake I ever made in my life is I'm really good at living in my head. But being present in your body, in your life, it's okay to want a nice pair of shoes. It's okay to want a nice jacket or a nice home. Like, I'm not saying you should be materialistic, because it's usually with a spiritual awakening, we start questioning the material world and its value and its place in our life. But if you completely live in your head, you will lose yourself in a way that will take, I would say, decades to find. You understand what I'm saying? Let me just say this. We all become who we are because somebody decided to play the game with us. Let me just say this. Doctors need patience. If nobody is ever sick, then I can't be a doctor. If I want to design wedding dresses and I want to be the best wedding dressmaker in the world, but nobody wants to buy a wedding dress, then I can't become a wedding dressmaker. I can't become a teacher if nobody wants to go to school. I can't. If nobody wants to come to my concert, you understand? We need each other in order to experience the role that we're choosing, the contract that we're choosing to play out. I mean, if you're an author and no one wants to ever read your book, what difference does it make? So we need each other to be who we are and to enjoy this experience. We need people to show up at our play. Does that make sense what I'm saying, guys? The role we are playing, we need other actors in character so we can enjoy our experience. So don't foo-foo your earth experience while on your spiritual journey. Now, I think the last warning I want to give you before closing out this video. Now, this is a little dark. Yeah! If you live in your head too much, what happens is you can lose your connection with your body and become a portal for other entities, spirits, and beings from other dimensions and realms. And I do mean this. And because seriously, so if you no longer, I want to say that to avoid this, because what happens with a spiritual awakening is when you realize you are a spiritual being having this physical human experience in an earth suit that's not going to last forever, you can become detached from your earth suit, and it becomes I would say like a signal to other beings who are looking to get a message across to beings on this planet. So I think sometimes you can become addicted to tarot. I think for a minute there I had a little bit of an addiction. I'm not going to sit here into tarot. I'm not going to lie. I don't have it now, but I did. I went through like a really bad breakup, and I wasn't even living in this moment. I was living in the past and in a future that didn't exist, throwing away the now. You understand? Another thing about when you become really spiritual is, like, for me, my dolls, they are messengers. They're not like voodoo dolls. These are literally messengers and they give me, channel messages from other realms, but I have to set boundaries. Like, I had to really put my foot down about, like, no, I'm going to bed, I want to sleep tonight. So I start asking my angels to protect me from my own beings, right? And then also, I remember when I first started, realizing that my dolls were portals to for entities, spirits, and beings from other dimensions. At one point, I was going to just make celebrity dolls and do readings on camera. I thought that would be really fun, and I had a overwhelming amount of spirits in my house telling me to tell their grandkids not to stop fighting over their money, to go mow the lawn. It was just all kind of stuff, and it scared me so bad that I decided I'm not going to be doing that. No, I don't want to use my body as a portal for beings who have gone to another dimension to tell their grandkids to stop fighting over their money. Stuff like that. It was just all kind of messages coming into me. So I'm going to tell you, you need anchors. Now, anchors to me are things that keep you grounded, especially when you're going through a spiritual awakening. Because to me, it just means that you're just aware of your consciousness is no longer just grounded in your ego in this 3D reality. You become aware of that you are much bigger than this moment, right? So you need anchors to keep you grounded to the planet. And to me, I think making love, it's important. I think that having movies and things that you enjoy, like let me tell you, this is silly. One of my all-time favorite movies is Dumb and Dumber, the first one with Jim Carrey and Jeff Daniels. You can't mess. That's my movie. Got me through a lot of stuff. I don't know why that movie cracks me up. I don't know what it is. I love Dumb and Dumber, the first one. I know. When I say I know, people might think that's so silly. I love that movie. Jim Carrey is ashamed of that movie. See, I'm telling you, there's nothing wrong with who you don't even know. You don't know the value of what you're doing and how it impacts people. But anyway, that movie makes me laugh and it takes me out of my head. I love Wedding Crashers. I love Love Jones. I love Something's Gotta Give. What is my... Getting Over Sarah Fisher. Is it called Forgetting Sarah Fisher? Oh my God. I have my little crew of movies. I think the movie Sex and the City. 50 Shades of Grey. Child, let me tell you. I have my little stash of movies when I want to feel like I'm still on the planet and that I still care about earthly things in my earthly body. I have my favorite like lingerie or things that I like to wear. Like, you need those things. You understand what I'm saying? Make yourself a nice meal, burn some candles. Like, if you don't ground yourself and enjoy the sensuality of being in a body, you can lose yourself during a spiritual awakening, and you no longer feel pleasure or joy. You no longer feel happy. You no longer, you understand what I'm saying? And to me, to wake up and realize that you're in an earth suit having a temporary experience on a planet, understand that it's something to cherish and to be proud of, and that you should appreciate this moment in time. I really hope this video helps someone. Thank you so much for watching, and I look forward to seeing you, darlings, in the next